Once you start seeing it, let me know.
Yes, now we can see.
Okay. All right. So, like I said, we are going to discuss the electronic data interchange. Electronic data interchange, as the name implies, is just an electronic system that business organizations use to exchange information from one organization to another organization. So we define electronic data interchange as a computer to computer interchange of electronic transaction documents involving two partners. So what it means generally is that electronic interchange can be used by two partners, different companies, where they exchange information. This information could be invoices, it could be purchase order, it could be any document that they use for their transaction. The one thing we must know about electronic data interchange is that any company or any two or three companies that are involved in electronic data interchange must have some components. One of the components is transaction standard. Another one is industry standard for product identification. And the other one is translation standard. So what we mean by transaction standard is that messages are exchanged in standard form. That is, the messages that are exchanged by two companies are messages that they have agreed that this is the type of messages, or this is the form messages that will be transferred from one point to another should look like. So they have agreed that this is how our messages should look like. So any message that is being transferred from one point to another must have that standard form that have been agreed or accepted by the participating partners. Another component, like I said before, is the industry standard for product identification. Sorry. Partners have to agree on the standard way to identify their products. So they must be able to know what means are we going to be using to identify our product, so that anytime we do transactions, we must be able to know that this product is from this particular organization and the other product is from this particular organization. One thing we must know is that dealings or transactions between companies to companies come in different forms, because a particular company may not be dealing with just only one company. You may have other clients that you deal with. So it is very good that you maintain standards so that there will not be confusion as you are dealing with one another. There's also what we call the translation software, because the application this company may be using may be different from the application the other company may be using. So they will agree on a kind of software that can be used to translate messages in a format that both firms will agree, so that they'll be able to understand whatever information is flowing from one company to the other. All right, so EDI can be carried out through direct communication links between partners using what we call the value-added network from a third-party supplier. So which means they may have to contract another company that will be able to set up their network that they will be using for their transactions. We also note that EDI has significant potential in competitive and strategic applications of information technology. So what we are just trying to say here is the importance or the benefits, or we can say the advantages of EDI to both companies, that is companies that are doing that transaction. So it speeds up communication in the sense that so many bottlenecks are removed. Because you now have direct communication link between an organization and between the two organizations, that's from one organization to another organization, there is this direct communication link. Because there is direct communication link, the bottleneck of carrying files or attending to files, moving files or whatever from one point to another is removed from that particular communication. Okay, it supports what we call the time-based competitive mode, such as just-in-time manufacturing strategy that reduces or even removes inventory and quick response retail strategy. So what this one is just talking about is that just like the first one, where there is when communication is speed up, when you speed up communication. This one also is a situation where things are done in real time. So once a strategy is taken or once a decision is taken, it becomes very easy for that decision to be routed to the participating company or the partner company within that particular organization. So you see, it makes things easy. Let me give a practical example. Let's say we have, okay, let's take Pick and Pay, for example, and we have a supplier that supplies Pick and Pay with their product. Now, this supplier is connected to Pick and Pay based on the product that particular supplier is giving to Pick and Pay. Let us just take bread as an example. So there is this link between Pick and Pay and the bakery or the supplier that supplies Pick and Pay that bread. So in some situation, this supplier is connected to the transaction processing system of that particular shop, which is the Pick and Pay, and they also monitor products, their own products that they supply to that particular organization. They monitor how it's being sold. So, and also they know that once this product get to this particular quantity, then we need to supply. So in that situation, you see that there is this monitoring of products that are being supplied. So it now helps, it now brings up a situation where there is always that product in stock in that particular organization, because once it gets to this particular point, the supplier does what? Supply. That is because there is this link between the supplier and the shop that sells the product. So once it gets to that point, the supplier now sends an invoice, or the shop sends a purchase order to the company, which they acknowledge, and then transaction takes place and products are supplied. So it also intensifies relationship between trading partners, in the sense that because they are already doing business together, they now find it easy. They know each other very well, and they now find it easy to continue doing business together. You know, since you're already together and you're doing this business, it is always very right to continue as long as contractual agreements are being met, because the cost of changing partners and also switching from one EDI to another is also very expensive. So to avoid misunderstanding and to avoid errors, which is common to exchange of paper documents, it is very good for companies to understand each other, meet their contractual agreements, and continue doing business together, transact business together. Any question? Any question?
No questions, sir.
Okay. So we also have what we call the business reporting. When we talk about business reporting, we are talking about reports that are submitted maybe at the end of the day or quarterly or wherever, that top management look at to make decision within that particular establishment. So business reporting system is a general term applied to a wide range of applications that are used for collecting, storing, analyzing, and providing access to data in order to help decision makers in business make better more informed business decisions. So you see, when data is analyzed, when data that if you watch how we moved in this particular topic, remember we started from OLTP, and then we moved to OLAP, and then we moved to EDI, and then we are coming to business reporting. You see that there is a kind of a link among these various concepts we are talking about. Online transaction processing system is used to transact business. As this transaction is going on, the transaction is being stored in the database, and the transaction that are stored in database are analyzed by the online analytical processing, which is the OLAP, analyzes them, and after analysis it provides the results, and these results or these reports are what business organizations use to take decisions, and that is what we call informed decisions. So one of the things a business reporting system offers, among other things, is quick transformation of raw data into a super decision making tool, commonly referred to as what? Intelligence business report. So the report that is being produced, the report that has been analyzed, and when this report comes, like when we talked about OLAP, we said that OLAP does what? Extract data from different data sources, and this, when it extracts this data, it groups this data or aggregates this data in a form that the user will be able to understand that particular data, that information or data that has been grouped and analyzed by OLAP. So this particular raw data that has been analyzed can now be used to make decision. So these are what we call the super decision making tool. So this particular report that is now being generated by this business reporting system is what we call the business intelligence report. So this information is gotten from different sources also and merged into one report that can be maybe the top management or employees or consultants or whoever, suppliers or customers, can look at and really understand what that business is talking about. So the information is merged by the system and provide companies with everything they need to report to management. So when the management sees that report, the management will be able to understand what the report is talking about. So we often find ourselves wondering how businesses ever did it any other way. Because how do they get this report? How do they manage their businesses? How do they make decisions that will usually help them in the day-to-day running of the organization? So business reporting system, like I said before, integrates other systems. For example, we have the sales system, we have the accounting system, we have the information storage, we have the transport, logistics, HR. These are different systems within the information system in an organization. And one thing we must understand is that all these systems, they have large amounts of data, which are also very important to the company. So these systems, these data are the data that are now analyzed, which that can be used by the organizations to make informed decision for the betterment of that particular organization. Therefore, any of the information described above can be used as in its raw form by the senior management to make decision. A business reporting system provides what? An in-depth knowledge to people for making decisions in the organization, because it contains information about the day-to-day running of the organization. So because of the kind of market we have now, because of the kind of competition in the market environment, it is very proper for businesses to be getting reports on how their businesses are being run. And once they get this report and they interpret the report, they can now use it to make decisions that they can use to for the company to run properly. All right, so we have what we call the business and management reporting systems. We said that business management reporting systems are the most elaborate of management-oriented information systems. The main objective of the business management reporting system is to provide the lower and middle management with printed or electronic reports and with inquiry capabilities to help maintain operational and management control of enterprise. So what this one is just talking about is the reports are printed out, and these reports are the reports that are used to make decisions. But these management reporting systems are developed by professionals, not just by end users. So because they know the kind of reports that should emanate from a particular company, so they are the people that develop this kind of reports from. So they develop this kind of information system that are used by organizations. Okay, so these systems are built for situations in which information requirements are easily well known. Okay, business management reporting systems are oriented towards reporting the past and present rather than projecting the future. So it is not their duty to project the future. All they now do is to report what has happened in the past and what is happening now. So as an analyst or as management, when you see this a report of past events and present events, you can now use it to project what will happen in the future. So the business reporting system doesn't have anything to do with projection of business analysis, but it gives you the report of what is on ground and then what has happened previously. So we have different types of business management reporting system, that the reports that comes from management reporting system. We have scheduled reports. These are reports that can come daily, they can come weekly, they can come every 2 weeks. It can even be monthly, depending on how that organization is being run. So the way the organization is being run determines how management wants reports determines how the management reporting system will be bringing out these reports. So it is not the responsibility of the managers to receive these reports in their own specific area of responsibility. For example, like we said before, we have the sales department, we have the accounting department. At the end of the day, they receive reports of what has been happening in that particular in their unit. So when they receive the report, they will now be able to analyze the report and then use it to make decisions for that particular um, establishment. So one thing we must also know is that when we talk about this reporting issues and the rest of them, business reports can be given to middle managers, it can be given to lower managers, it can also be given to management. But the reports that are given to middle managers, lower managers, and management are of different types based on their designation, based on the kind of duties they carry out in that particular establishment. So the kind of duty you carry out in your establishment determines the kind of report you will receive that you can use to enhance whatever you are doing in that particular organization. Then we also have what we call the exception reports. These reports are maybe reports that doesn't have you managers may there are reports that we say they deviate from the actual report. There are situations where you give reports, but you feel that these particular ones are not too important and you remove them. You keep them aside. The manager may decide, okay, let me see those reports that you feel may not be that important, because there could be something within that particular report that could still be useful. There could be unusual events that may have happened which you feel may not necessarily be in the main report you are submitting. So the manager may decide to also look at that report to see if there is something they can get out from the report that could also help the organization to run very well. They will have the demand report. This one shows the flexibility of your management reporting system, which means a report can be produced at any time. Anytime the manager demands for that report should be produced at that particular time. That is the one that is called the ad hoc report. So generally, what we are talking about here is that there is a link, or yes, there's a link between the processing, the electronic data processing system. There is a link between the online transaction processing system. There's a link between that particular processing system with the OLAP and with the electronic data interchange, and also with the reporting system, because they cannot do without the other. If, for example, you have finished processing, you have used your OLAP, OLTP now to transact business. After business transaction, you will see that you are going to have a large volume of data in your database system. Even the transaction you did using your EDI will also give you large volume of data in your database. So using your online analytical processing, which is the OLAP, you can now be able to extract data, aggregate this data into various groupings, which can now be used for decision making. So that type of aggregated data can now be used to produce reports that you can now give to your managers, give to your middle managers, or even give to the lower cadre or in your establishment, which they can also use to make decisions. So generally, what we are just talking about is that transaction processing system, which is very, very important for organization, is used to carry out transactions in organizations. And after these transactions are carried out, these transactions are also analyzed, aggregated into data marts, because you have a data warehouse where you store all this data. But now this data, after being mined, they are now aggregated into data marts depending on the type of data that has been collected. This data, which has been aggregated, is now analyzed and reports are produced using the management reporting system or the business reporting system. So these reports are produced, which business organizations can now use to make a decision within the organization. One thing you must understand is that there is competition when it comes to business. When it is even your school, NAST, is competing with other universities here. Everybody wants to, every organization wants to be the best, And for you to be the best, you must be able to carry out analysis of your performance in your organization. And once you're able to carry out analysis of your performance, you will not be able to use the result of that analysis to now make what? Decisions that will favor the organizations. Thank you. Any question? Any question for me?